Gracious God, we give you thanks for all the blessings of this life and for all gathered in this place. Lord, pour your Holy Spirit upon us and ready our hearts and open our hearts to the coming of your Son. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. And there's some handouts that I tried to distribute, but there are extra copies up front if anyone needs them. So today we're gonna go over the I heard the bells on Christmas Day, which I think is a little bit less familiar. It's not in the hymnal, but it's the kind of thing that you would hear in like a well-rounded Christmas song compilation. And so this is building off the same text that we were talking about last week, which is Carols of Christmas. It's daily devotionals. So I actually thought this book was pretty entertaining and inspiring at the same time. So I recommend it to everyone. Where did it go? Is it going? No. Here, hold on. Try now. Okay. So you may have been here last week, but for those who weren't, I'm going to do a brief history of the carol, and then we're going to have a small discussion, and then at the end, the choir is going to come down and lead us in the singing of the carol. So just a few icebreaker questions to get us started. We're going to ask for a show of hands. So does anyone know who wrote the poem that inspired the carol? So your first choice is Alfred Lord Tennyson. Anyone think of that person? Second choice B is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Show of hands, okay. And then C is Robert Browning. Okay, the tentative show of hands. That's very good. It was B, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So one of the most famous American 19th century poets. Okay, question number 2. Show of hands again. What war was happening at the time of the poem's backdrop? First choice A, Crimean War. Anyone? B, Mexican American War. Okay, got 1 teacher there. And C, the Civil War. Yep, very good, everyone. So, Civil War is the war. That's the subject of the song. Okay, and that question. Who sang the most famous recording of the poem as a song? First option A, Bing Crosby. Yeah. B, Frank Sinatra. And C, Perry Como. Yeah, so it was Bing Crosby who introduced the song in the version that we know today in 1950. Which is not surprising given his history of introducing white Christmas, that he was the go-to for introducing Christmas songs. So I thought we could take a moment to listen to that. So I don't know if I can just. And one handout is the lyrics. The other handout is another handout is a quote.
Lord, make it strong and marks the song of peace on earth.
So I think that's enough of a tape to kind of appreciate how the carol is a little bit different in that it's kind of more like an experience of listening to her carol. And Ron might often do a big coffee impression if we're lucky. Do a question.
There's some people that are prepared that thought it was
Oh, right, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about.
Okay. And so one of the local songs that I'm wanting to making progress, but if you read the lyrics, you can see that it's definitely about someone kind of struggling with faith. And let's move on then to the. Yeah, so this is the actual quote behind the carol. So Henry Wordsworth Longfellow, who was born in 1807. So he's probably best known still for Walter Beard's Ride. I think I actually got that at the library to show to my kids. And so he was born to an established New England family. He attended Bowdoin College and graduated in 1825. And then he studied modern languages in Europe for a few years before returning to teach at Bowdoin, and then became a professor. So he had a successful professional life, but his personal life had not been as smooth. So turning to the events behind the actual Christmas carol, this is a picture of Fanny Longfellow, who was actually his second wife. His first wife had died tragically from complications of a miscarriage, but he had a successful, happy second marriage, and they had 6 children together. And they lived in this beautiful historic home, crazy house in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Has anyone actually been there? Because apparently it's open to the public. I think it's part of the National Park Service. And so it overlooks the Charles River in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and George and Martha Washington had actually lived here during the Revolutionary War. I think around the time of the Battle of Bunker Hill. So in 1854, Longfellow retired from Harvard to become a full-time writer. And that's kind of the backdrop to when his life took a turn for the worse. So when I was doing a trial run through earlier, I broke down in tears. So I will try and make it through this part of the presentation without breaking down in tears. Basically, this is the library in the home. It was July 1861. His wife was sitting in the library with her two little girls, Edith and Allegra. She was trimming some of Edith's pearls to have like keepsake, and then wanted to seal them together, some packages, to keep these pearls, and she needed sealing wax, so she like lit flame, and so the hot wax fell on her dress, just as the breeze gusted through window. And basically she caught fire, her husband rushed to save her, didn't succeed, and she died from this freak accident. And then Longfellow himself was burned so badly that he couldn't attend her funeral. So it was really a horrible freak accident. But this is the portrait of Longfellow from later in life. And I think when you look at this, like me, you might just think, okay, 19th century person. But apparently he grew weird in part because of the scarring on his face. And it just is also kind of a marker about how he sank into a depression, Yeah, because it took him years to go through the reading process. He was worried at one point that they would send him away to an asylum. He was so research. Okay, so as I mentioned, his wife died in July of 1861, so not even time for the country either. So he made it through a couple of Christmases, and then in March of 1863, his 18-year-old son Charlie, against his wishes, left to join the Union Army. So Longfellow was a staunch abolitionist, but he was fully aware of how bloody the war had already become, and didn't want his son in danger. And he was right to be worried because his son Charlie came down with typhoid fever and was sent home to recover. But Charlie nonetheless soon returned to the fighting. In November of 1853, after he joined his unit, Charlie was involved in a skirmish during the Battle of the Mine Run campaign. He was shot and barely escaping and paralyzed. The injury was severe enough. Then he was transported to a hospital in Washington, D.C. And Longfellow, after receiving a telegram, immediately set out to find him. He took Charlie back home to recover, and got back at the beginning of December. And at this point, Charlie was suddenly discharged. So his son is safe, but recovering from this horrible injury. And it took him time, basically 1863. So on Christmas Day, 1863, just 2 weeks after bringing Charlie home, Longfellow was now 57-year-old widowed father of 6 children, and he heard the Christmas bell ringing out over Cambridge, announcing peace on earth and goodwill to men. But how could people believe that? The circumstances of what he heard challenged him to write the poem. This is the cover of the poem as it was published. It was first published as Christmas Bells in February of 1865. And then there's something I can do about that? Okay.
Put it down a bit.
Should I put it that way? It was published in a children's magazine.
This one to a difference. Interference.
So what struck me about this, is it was first published in February 1865, so we know about events, it wasn't sitting on it until November or December of the following year, he put it out, when he was ready to publish it. And, yeah, I think that's interesting is that it was published at children's magazine. So in my mind, this carol is one of the more serious carols out there, and yeah, it's just really interesting that he attended this carol for the children's audience.
If you back up from the speaker.
I'll do it again, thanks.
The children.
Okay, so here is a slide showing the original poem. And if you take a moment and compare the handout with the carol to the poem, you can see some of the differences. And this is one of the discussion questions for later, so I'm just highlighting it now for future discussion. But one of the things to investigate is what choices were made in terms of what language to include and what to drop. And some of what's dropped, I think, is the darkest parts. Okay, so after being published as a poem, in 1872, the poem was put to music by the English organist John Baptiste Calkin, which I know a lot of people know more about music than me, but this was an unfamiliar name. Does anyone recognize that name? Right. And there was two, it reads the same melody, Waltham. So there's two different versions. There's the version that we hear Big Crosby singing, and there's a more traditional, more church sounding version. And so unlike many other carols, there's no holly, tinsel, or beautiful imagery of the birth of Christ. But the version that's most popular that we know today is thanks to Jewish American songwriter John Marks. So that's the person on the right, who's was 1909 to 1985, so a little bit later. Than Calkin, who's basically a contemporary of Longfellow. And this kind of picks up on the theme of last week about how there are many hands involved in making it popular Christmas carol, including people of a completely different faith. So to come full circle now, we start off with Bing Crosby at the beginning. Bing Crosby then made what turned out to be a very popular recording of it. And Crosby is said to quote, in a quote to Marx, I see you finally got yourself a decent lyricist. The lyricist this time being Longfellow. Okay, so that's my brief overview of the history. So now is when I'm going to turn it over to you to do some discussion. Does anyone need a handout of the discussion questions? I've got some extra up here.
I don't know what. Yeah. Okay. I knew to be and start getting the last dance. Oh, yeah, that is good. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Kasha, for difficult circumstances and persevering through noise and whatnot. We really appreciate that.
Parallel already has an answer. What do you make of the numbers? It's darker. It helps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like all the bad stuff got pulled out. Yeah.
You were quiet. Hard to know how loud.
There is a great movie of this story on, I think it's called Great American.
Oh, really?
And it, there's a couple of differences in what you read, just in the novel presented. But some of the most gripping about this was his daughters come running down the stairs. Is it Christmas? Is it Christmas every morning? And he'd say, it's not Christmas until we go to church. Well, so that kind of went on. But then also, the reason this got written was because he was like a national poet at that point, and he was asked to do the prison in the church, and so that was the one that they took a couple of verses out of. for the trailer. But the movie is just, it's not over dramatic, it's too dramatic, because there's so many heart-wrenching things, like his wife. In this depression that he went through, he was in the middle of this depression, and they were asking him to write this poem. And then it just, I think it really heard the bells. And, because they chimed it in. And he just sort of was inspired and started writing and wrote it down. I mean, it's just, it's definitely worth it. It's very, very well done.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Nobody has an easy life.
No. It's just, oh, and I was so, we were just playing all the time. He was very involved with the kids and then, his wife died so tragically and he because he couldn't save her and all this stuff.
And then really didn't have the closure by not going to the funeral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right. So, they show some parts of how he gained closure and then also, by going to the grave. I was trying to think of what it was that Stanford had. Something else. Well, yeah. Maybe that's what it was, but he was, there was an idea. I want to say it was with one of the kids, not the Charlie. I'm sorry. I liked the movie. Really? What was your first clue? Okay.
So when was that movie done then?
Was it
I mean,
Oh, it was a movie.
who was in it?
Yeah, and I don't know. What was it? I heard the bells on Christmas. Yeah, his name.
Yeah.
Artistic ones.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and like I said, there were a few things that the way they portrayed it was slightly different, but that's so odd for me.
The first question was just comparing the poems and the lyrics. There's a part of the poem that talks about. Yeah, I guess it's written down. But then each.
Yeah.
But then each.
Could stand.
Yeah.
Some rearrangements.
Yeah.
The order. Girl's got it all.
Yeah, I wrote.
If anybody needs a map, she's got it.
Because it was actually only relevant to the time. I think it's.
Oh, it's easy to know.
I think. The children were very. Were very. Because a lot of them lost weight.
Yeah.
So, and it is. The very last of the poem. More loud indeed, God is not dead yet. The wrong shall fail, and I prevail.
And even putting that in context. One of the things that I also noticed was some of the stuff doesn't apply to how things are today that much. We do, there are kids that But it's also that, so it used to be the jump tower for the. A lot of people. See the Chavez before you get. They have parallel. They did practice jump tower for the fire.
Yep. That's right.
I grew up in useless information about.
There's not many of us in that anymore.
So I was born and raised normal, but I had things. Junior high, high school. Learned to drive in Austin, so I can get north, south, east, and west, avoiding no back and 35. It may take me longer, but I can avoid it. There were a number of things about the words that over time, the circumstances of I'm not sure if I'm completely out of the current level that and test our curiosity about the piece. That would be
Yeah, well, somebody already said that, but we know that you got these brains about the war, Civil War. It doesn't seem like it's all the war, like,
Right.
somewhere.
right.
And like with Gaza and Ukraine, it's like,
Yeah.
to me, it's much more relevant than it would have been like 5 years ago. Yeah. So then I want to take a number 4. Reaction to the Carol play. When I was talking about this line with someone else, they were speculating about what Carol's. What is Carol? I don't remember what the story is.
If you look in the handbook, at the bottom, it tells you when they were written.
Okay.
That's what I missed with.
The program. Yeah. Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a favorite Carol?
We don't sing in church, but I love. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. That would just. In fact, if you want me to, I can think about it and I'll cheer up. Yeah, and I don't know that it's. I think it's just be one. Not very long.
Oh, sure.
I became familiar with that song with my children were getting.
Maybe that's not my children.
Oh, yeah. I have a t-shirt that says my favorite color is Christmas lights. And I tend to answer this question with my favorite girl is Christmas lights. Yeah, I know there's oh Holy Night and Silent Night and some of those. Well, yeah.
Overly nice, pretty
Huh?
dramatic.
Yes.
Mother's is just saying, we don't understand.
Overly nice. Yeah.
Yes, that's a great one, yeah.
Oh, wow. Special.
And I can't do
Oh, yes.
Oh, you're talking about all I want for you?
No,
Oh,
holding on.
Oh, okay.
yeah, she.
She does.
Where did you know was written in 84?
Ah, okay. Longer there. Oh,
Everybody knows the story about it.
Oregon didn't. Oh, yeah.
Woodmore. Oh, you know, it's in Germany. The Oregon had quit working and pleased to us, they had a guitar. Yeah, some guitar. And then it only became popular, some of the German immigrants brought it to the United States and became popular here before it went back to Germany. Yeah, so, and my favorite story was that, and old house was all over it. So, and we had driven down Christmas Eve to the lake service. We had snow in a couple of weeks, so snow was really nice. And at the end of the service, they turned the lights on, as the candles turned out the lights, and sang holy, sang the silent night. So when they turned out the lights, you could see out the window, and it started snowing.
Oh, yeah.
And the congregation, because up there, they don't have little kind of place, they have puff houses that fall.
Yeah.
It was just snowed on the all of them back. That's my story of the silent.
Well, I think when I was growing up, the churches that I would go to were saying I didn't say it to the last or the acapella. It's definitely made more of a discussion, you know. And it does seem like the only one that like.
Yeah, I still like to sing it in German. The mother's from Germany. I do. Yeah.
Okay. Do the words say the church first? Yeah.
Sorry.
Tell us the church first in German.
Ich spiele nach Hause, alles soft. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you put me on the spot.
I thought she was the one that had studio doc, but I.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You know, we really didn't. I've been contemplating picking up the German again, and now that they're kind of older and I have more time with things to kind of study just for me.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I was a kid, I knew it a lot better than what I know it now. They do.
Yeah. In this world, it's bilingual is not even enough anymore. That's being studied. Chinese, the Mandarin, and Spanish, Portuguese.
It's a prettier language, is it? I think that's a pretty language.
And you also have to ask British as opposed to American.
And then there's redneck.
It's like there's Mexican food and then there's Spanish. You know. It's not the same.
Exactly.
Not the same. That's what I was trying to say. Yes. Somewhere.
Sorry to interrupt again. I'm just gonna go check on the choir, because it's gonna be coming out, the last part is gonna be the choir leading us in song, so I'll be right back.
Verse in on earth, peace among those with whom is pleased. Yeah, I don't like that.
That's like.
Right, yeah, only peace only for those God likes, no. Peace on earth and good to men also has a lot more human responsibility. Yes, ma'am.
The way I kind of read the last two stanzas here and or verses really in the poems, I kind of think about Austin. You talk about how Austin has changed over time, and we're kind of at this point where we're ready to be from Austin and not because of the way it's changed. And this is kind of a good reminder of despite all the the one-fingered salutes that you get on Mopac and everything else anymore, that you really should do exactly this and be that example, be strong, and even though hate is strong, you need to overcome it, and this is how, and even when you think that there is no message from God, he's not speaking, he's not dead, he is there and willing and able and ready, and we just have to remind it to go to him. And that's I really like these two verses because of that.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
But you can still win.
Well,
Just use more fingers.
it is. What does too, if somebody